go. GM.
GM,
How's it going,
GM.
baby? Let's get it. Yo, it's a great morning to have a great morning. Happy Monday to everybody in the chat. Totally, I see you. Harry laces out. Let's get it.
It's Monday. We made it through another weekend. Here's the start of another weekend. Here we go. It's what a crazy weekend it was too. I mean, we're gonna break into things too, but it's insane. There was so much to keep up with. I don't know about you, but it was a lot.
Let's go. Let's get the bag.
Let's get the bag
this week.
Let's see. All right. Well, any thoughts before we jump right into it, or should we just jump right in?
I mean, we've had a few things pop off over the weekend, but we'll probably just get into them right after the first segment.
I'm sure.
And then we got a new one for y'all today. See how you guys like it. Get some feedback on that. But yeah, let's just hop into the little market checkup.
Cool. Let's, as usual, we're going to go to Flips.finance. We're going to look at how the floors are changing in the last 24 hours. And then I kind of wanted to highlight some of the 7-day volume because it's absolutely insane. But first, let's look at the positive. What's up? What is going crazy right now? I mean, there's a lot. We could probably spend our whole show talking about all the top projects in these green, but we're just going to point out a few. And the very top one, very top, with 2020, it's got 2,000 ETH volume in the last 24 hours. 5.4 floor, cyber brokers. They don't stop. I guess I missed an announcement. Was there an announcement that caused this pump to happen? Because they just went absolutely insane in the last 24 hours.
I did not see anything on the timeline. And chat, let me know if my mic is still low. I turned it up a little bit, but I didn't see anything over the timeline this weekend, and I feel like I saw a lot. I'm not sure. Maybe it was something in their Discord though.
We got some subscribers real quick. Let's do some shout outs. We've got, Kenkelfark, appreciate that subscribe. We've got Crep, we've got Dork God subscribed. We've got Q Dog subscribed. We got some more subscribers.
We got the resubs. That must mean it's been like
that must
about
be the resubs, yeah.
4 weeks. 4 weeks since we've had the affiliate. So yeah, just shout out to all you guys right there. Yeah. Much love. I can't believe it's been 4 weeks already. That's kind of nutty.
Yeah,
shout out to all the guys resubbing.
It's gone by quickly, but yeah, Cyber Brokers chat. I think some of you guys still have them. I don't have any, so if you're still holding, congrats. That's a huge jump up. I need to look into what caused this pump and why they shot up 60%. That's a huge jump.
Yeah, unless it was something today.
I don't know. I tried looking them up on Twitter. On the Twitter page. I didn't see any major. I didn't see any major announcements from their Twitter. Maybe it's something in their Discord. Maybe it's just, we see a lot of these projects on this front page. They're just seeing a lot of the volume from the big Azuki pump, basically, is flowing back into the ecosystem, which is good to see.
Yeah, that's true too.
So we've also got MFers, another kind of project that's been around for a while. They've had a nice run. They're up 30%. They're up to over 4 ETH again. Remember these touched like 6 ETH at one point last month. They dropped down to like almost 2 ETH, and now they're slowly going back up. They got that CCO thing going for them. People like that, and I think maybe that's why the cyber brokers are pumping too, because they're like fully on chain. But yeah, MFers, they're having a nice day. They're back over 4 ETH. Are you holding any of these? I know Totally probably got them. BSB's got them.
Yeah, it's crazy to see them back over 4 ETH. I know they crashed there pretty hard for a little bit.
They did, yeah.
But we're back. We're up, baby.
We're back. When it's a time right now, it's easy to get lost in everything and be like, man, this is you get that euphoria feeling. Everything's green. It looks nice. Your portfolio's looking nice. Just be careful during all this, right? Like, if you gotta sell, if you've been waiting for a point to sell the last few months, and then now you're feeling like, oh man, it's green, I can't sell now, don't be afraid to sell, to take those profits if you need.
Absolutely.
All right, we got a few more. I mean, normally we're going to talk about a couple of these, but let's just do a few more. We got Quirkies. They're at almost 3 ETH. I remember looking at these and they were like 0.6 or 0.7, thinking about pulling the trigger. I never did. I usually don't stay away from these speculative kind of lower end projects, just because most of the time they pump to like 1 ETH and they go back down to 0.2 or something. But Quirkies, props to them. They're at 423 ETH volume in the last 24 hours. They're up to almost 3 ETH, up to 33%. So, that's, I mean, they've got that pastel, that weird kind of unique look to them. I guess people just vibe with them and they like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to touch on the house phases as well, they just released their white paper. I'm pretty sure in the entire ecosystem is called like Fabric, Fabrik.
Okay.
I haven't read through the whole thing, but I do know that it's a collective of 33 employees coming from Apple, Microsoft, Disney, Netflix, and Amazon. So that's who's a part of the project. And then I think they even list their titles and roles at those companies, such as like a lawyer from Skype, a lead developer at Amazon Web Services, and stuff like that. So if y'all want to check out their Twitter and read the white paper, it's out now.
That's a good shout. And then we've got our last product I wanted to hit on is, we obviously we've seen Azukis, they had themselves a weekend, on Friday we talked about them and they were up, I think at that time they were at 22 or something. They touched 34 ETH over the weekend. Their volume's been insane. But because of that volume, it looks like we saw a lot of that go back into these kind of, I'm not going to say blue chips, but these like semi blue chip candidates basically. So we've seen Doodles and CloneX's really pump in the last day or two. So on here, we've got Doodles are up 22%. Their floor's at 17.1. They've had a lot of volume in the last day. GG, grats to those holders if they're still holding. I think they basically reached their new all-time high. And then Clone-X's are 7,500 ETH traded in the last 24 hours. They jumped up over 20 ETH. And just for reference, even though Azukis are I think Azukis are still at 27, 28 ETH. They technically haven't flipped CloneX. Remember, CloneX has 20,000 of these. So they have a 20,000 collection over 20 ETH, which is extremely impressive. It's absolutely insane. That's Mutant Ape Yacht Club level. That's Bored Ape Yacht Club level. So their market cap is still almost 2x that of Azuki's.
Yeah, would you say that like maybe there's some potential insider trading going on there? Like when you see that huge pump from CloneX like that, or do you think it's really just people selling from maybe Bored Ape, Mutant Ape, or Azuki and getting into CloneX?
I don't think it's really inside trading. I just think that a lot of people had these big sales from Azuki, and maybe they had two Azukis and they sold one and they wanted to diversify and they looked at the projects close to it, and if someone was already a fan of Azukis, it's easy to see them gravitate more towards CloneX than a Doodles or a Cool Cats or a World of Women, right? It's kind of like it's a similar like anime type of style, like a different like more unique style. Than it's not like one of those cute PFPs. So I think that they were able to. I think it just drew them into it more, and plus. CloneX has already done so much more than a lot of these projects close to them, right? They've had the monolith drop, which I think is going to be happening. Like, I think, are those revealing this week or something? Something's going on with the monolith this week, right?
Yeah, we're getting to like the final chapter of all that stuff.
Yeah, but they've got like the monolith, they got the space pods, they got all this stuff going on for them. I think people see like the utility there, they see the Nike brand behind it, and I think it's easy for them to gravitate towards that. So I don't think it's insider trading. I mean, of course, there's probably a little bit, but not enough to warrant 7,500 ETH traded in the last 24 hours. But what's your takes on it? Do you think it's more insider trading, or do you think or something else?
I think somebody knows something about CloneX this week. Although I do think it's kind of like this. Combination really of like the huge Azuki sales kind of flowing through to CloneX because probably people were hopping into Azuki in hopes that they could get into more established. And I call it established because you do have the support of Nike, and then you do have the history of Artifact. So in CloneX, which is much more proven, it's still relative, but much more proven than Azuki. So you got the high risk but high reward of Azuki versus the, medium risk to more like medium reward of CloneX. So people just kind of taking the diversity route or just getting into CloneX. So I think it's a little combination of that. Plus, I think somebody does know something because it's hard to explain a huge jump like that without there's no additional airdrop, there's no additional announcement, there's nothing. Like, literally no single word was spoken, and yet they jump multiple ETH.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is just so spoken into existence type of thing. Like on Twitter, I kept seeing, "Hey, after Azuki's, Clonex is next probably." Like I think I saw that 100 times. People like saying Clonex is next, Clonex is next, and even I was looking at Clonex early in the weekend whenever they were at 15, like 14, 15, 16 ETH, thinking like, maybe I should buy into these because maybe they are gonna get a nice little pump. And I never pulled the trigger, and obviously they ended up getting that. They ended up getting that pump for quite a bit. Shout out. We got a couple. We got Hunter. Thanks for the resubscribe. Definitely appreciate that. And then Sunny Day Stables. He's Sunny Day Stable gifted a tier 1 sub. GG's. Thanks for that as well.
Yeah, thanks for the gifted, my guy.
Yeah.
Hunter, welcome back.
All right, so we've got, before we go to the losers, there's really not a lot of losers, but we don't do this very often. We don't look at the 7-day. I just want to look at how crazy this 7 days is, right? Look at that volume traded.
Volume is nuts
for Azuki's. It's oops.
I mean, go back to that screen real quick.
Yeah, I didn't mean to click on that.
That's like the aggregate of. Yeah, that's almost the entire aggregate of Clonex, Bored Apes, and Mutants.
Yeah, I mean, people are asking like why everything's pumping. You can see why everything's pumping. I don't know where this ETH came from to flow into Azuki's. If it's outside ETH, China's here, right? The Asia market's here, baby. Maybe people sold. We saw the ApeCoin price tank a little bit. Maybe a lot of Bored Apes. They see these Azuki's pumping and they're like, hey, I have to get into this. They sold their ape to buy an Azuki, and that caused a lot of it as well. I'm sure there's a ton of cases of that happening. But that volume, 25,000 ETH in 7 days. Mm-hmm. I mean, for reference, the apes have done 8,000 in that same time frame. So they're almost basically three times the amount of what apes have done. Now, albeit apes have only had 67 sales. That's all it takes for them to move the needle. And Azuki's have had 902 sales, so almost 10% of their supply was changed hands in that last 7 days. Insane, but yeah, this volume, I can't remember. Can you remember the last time we've seen this amount of volume across the NFT ecosystem over the span of a week? And even it wasn't even really a full week. It really started on Wednesday, so it's only this is probably like 5 days worth, right?
Yeah. I think there was a moment in time where that Bored Apes just shot up like that. I think they went from a 70-something floor all the way up to the 105.
Like end of January when we saw that peak. Yeah.
That may be one of the competitors that I remember.
Right.
Potentially Punks had something like that, but not that I know of.
Maybe Punks in August.
Yeah.
I think whenever Visa bought into Punks, they shot from 60 ETH to 120 ETH or something. Mm-hmm. And it kind of feels like we saw this in August, we saw this in January, and now we've seen this in March, April, beginning of April with this. So I'm definitely curious to see what happens. Obviously we can't keep seeing this volume nonstop. So definitely, if you need to sell. Just be wary that it's not going to keep going up, and we're probably due for a correction market wide here pretty soon.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and go back to 24 hours and let's look at the opposite end of the spectrum. Let's look at some of the losers. And honestly, there's not a lot on here. There's really not, because we're only trying to look at projects that actually, I don't want to say matter, because every project matters in some aspect, but we're really looking at those popular projects that people maybe care more about than others. The first one is Oni. The Onis, they're down 21% again. they got that pump after the Azuki's pumped. People thinking hey, Azuki's are pumping, let's go ahead and bet on Onis. I think one person swept the Oni floor for 21 ETH. That person's down bad right now.
Nah, down super bad.
They're down real bad. That's a bad speculation play. That's if you want to learn how to not trade, don't do that, right? Don't try to revive an old project because another project is pumping.
Shout out to the Vern though, Vernon over there with the sub. Appreciate you.
Appreciate that, Vernon.
Guy now has the alpha.
So Onis, they were at 0.4 a little bit ago. Now they shot up to I think they got to 8 or something, but obviously it was just an artificial pump.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
just because the Zukis are pumping and Anime's pumping right now, it doesn't change the leadership for Oni, right? It doesn't change these project leadership or their direction. So I think people realize that it's easy to buy into the hype, but then quickly people realize, there's nothing there still, and they got to sell off. So they're back down. And then, again, there's not really a lot on here. The only other thing I wanted to point out is we're seeing some metaverse land starting to see a little bit of a dip. With Treeverse, they're down 11%. And then we also have Webland. Where's it at? I saw it on here earlier. Okay, maybe it's not down anymore. I saw it was around Treeverse, but this Webland was down quite a bit. Maybe I'm just overlooking it. But yeah, I wonder if we're seeing some of these lands drop a little bit because of the Otherside is rumored to come this month. I wonder if we're seeing people trying to maybe hedge their bets. Maybe they're trying to sell out from some of the other lands and get liquid for the other side and try to diversify and be ready to go all in into that.
Potentially.
But yeah. Any thoughts on this market change in the last day, either good or bad?
Hey man, it's really good on one side and it's not too good on another. And I think we just see this over and over, and it's something that we preach. Like, hey, for the projects that we know aren't doing much, could potentially be around, have the yellow flags, like all this stuff, like get out during the liquidity, like during when the volume is pumping, right? When there's a lot of action, just like take your money, go to a more established project. And I know it's much easier said than done, especially because a lot of people, like, their mentality is like, let's time the top. Like, oh no, it's 1.2. I think it can go to 1.6.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, it maybe hit like 1.4 or something, and then people start undercutting, and now we're all of a sudden we're back down to underneath, right? So you really have to sell into that volume when it's not a super established project. They haven't done much to deserve it or something like that. And then the other thing is that it depends on how much you bought into that project, right? Do you own one of them? Do you own 3 of them? Do you own 10 of them, right? Because then if you really want to play that high risk, high reward game, maybe don't sell all, but definitely get your money out plus more, right? Like, get a 3 or 5xer, pull that out, and then put that money into more established stuff, or save some of it to make another risky play, and then you keep some of your NFTs in that project, but knowing that, hey, this could go to 0 in like a month or tomorrow. So yeah, that's just my tip, is just remember to sell into that volume, because it's not always sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, and I mean, and you look at some of those recent volumes, sometimes the best move is to do nothing, right? Like, sometimes inaction is the best action. We see a lot of these pumps, Doodles, Clone X, Azukis. They were minted out for a while. It's not these new projects. Like, these are the projects that are building. And one common thing I've seen about these projects is, if you look on the Twitter feed, I think I saw it for Azukis, I saw it for Doodles, I've seen it for other projects that are moving up a lot. They've been posting a lot of job postings. Like, they're actually hiring people. They're building the team. They're building, whether it be like someone to build out a metaverse, someone to build out, part of their roadmap. They're actually bringing people onto the team, and that's something you want to look for in a project, is how are they building. And if they are, then maybe it's, like I said, maybe the best option is to just hold it and just wait for the long term, because eventually that volume is going to come their way, and people are going to see that and respect it. But let's move on to, speaking of maybe an artist building. We've got, over the weekend yesterday, we had a drop start, and it was this. We talked about it on Wednesday, we talked about it on Friday, and we said we were gonna kind of recap it some more on Monday after the fact. So we've had the FIVO World drop started yesterday. The pre-sale started yesterday at, I think it was noon Eastern until 3 p.m. Eastern, and then the public sale started at 5 p.m. Eastern, and it's still going on. And actually, the raffle just ended. I know I posted that in a couple of Discords, so hopefully people were able to get on that. And if maybe someone watching NFA wins that raffle, and that's going to be huge.
That would be huge.
That would be awesome. So if you win, let us know. I'm looking forward to that. But FIVO World, did you buy in yet, or have you bought in, or are you still planning on it? Because I know you were planning on it. I know, but things change. You look more into it.
I bought 5 so far.
Okay.
Spent 5,000 on it. I think we got the closing of it coming up in about 3.5, 4.5 hours or so.
Yeah, it closes at I think 5 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so about 3.5 hours or so. I may make another buy, but for so far I just put like 5 Gs into
Okay.
it, which is like, I don't know, 1.5 ETH or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I entered the raffle to see how that goes, and then depending on how the raffle goes, which I know my chances are low, but hey, you never know. So after seeing how the raffle goes, then maybe I'll make another move.
Yeah. Were you paying attention much to the leaderboard yesterday? This whole I don't know if you see. We didn't really talk about this on the stream, but there's this, there's this aspect of, hey, if you're in the if you're a top 50 paint holder, you're not only going to get those paints, but you basically get 2 extra NFTs from FIWO. So you get a diamond paint trophy NFT, and then you also get a custom one of one FIWO like avatar whenever those drop later on.
And those aren't like 2 little like participation trophy, 2 little
Oh, no.
gimme NFTs, like a custom one of one, like that is sick. Like I think Richard got one actually, not even tied to this, but Richard has a one of one paint done by Pharaoh. And then the diamond paint trophy, I'd imagine like that's going to be tied to like hella utility in terms of this ecosystem going forward. So, I mean, having both of those things are going to be pretty sick for the top 50 holders.
Yeah,
and, I think I know a top 50 holder or two.
Oh, you do? I think your boss over there at Metakey, yeah, he's like, no, he's big time holder.
Yeah, he's a
he
whale
actually,
dog.
I've got his tweet pulled up, but yeah, he's number 3 right now. Maddie, DCL blogger, he's at 515 paints. At one point yesterday, he was the number 1 by like over a couple of hundred, and then some whales decided that they wanted the clout of being the top one, and they kind of passed him up a little bit. But yeah, he did this thread about why he bought in. But yeah, your boy Maddie's over there repping, and I'm actually on the top 50 leaderboard too right now.
Yo, Capper.
I sat back and looked at it, and I just saw like, hey, this one of you're basically, you get the benefit of having these multiple paints. I don't think that's worth it on its own being that high, but when you add in this extra, you get diamond paint trophy NFT, and then you get the main thing is this custom one of one FIWO piece, which I think that's worth it by far, just in my opinion, at least from the pre-sale standpoint. Because remember, most of this leaderboard, these are all people that were on the pre-sale. This leaderboard has barely moved since the pre-sale ended. But that last like 15, 20 minutes of the pre-sale, this leaderboard was going insane. Like kind of my process, we can kind of scroll down to it as well. So like the number 1 holder is at 561. Maddie's at 515, and then the bottom of the 50 is 139. Whenever I started off my first purchase, I sent it to I think like 20. And then I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go for the top 50. I was just going to stay at 20. And I decided to try to go for the top 50. So I bought 40 additional, putting me at 60. And that put me at rank like 18 for a long time. I felt pretty good. And then quickly, that did not feel good at all because it got outpaced. And I waited to buy back in. And then I think I put myself at like 105 paints. At like towards like there was an hour left in the sale. I was like at 105, and I think I was number 18, and that number kept dropping and dropping and dropping. I saw the writing on the wall, so I kept increasing, and right now I'm sitting at number 40. That's dropped since we started. I was at 38 like 10 minutes ago, so maybe it's gonna keep changing. But I'm at 40 at 147 paints. I kind of feel like to the point, and I'm sure a lot of these people are to the point where you kind of feel like you're kind of too deep into it, where you can't back out. Because imagine going for the top 50 and you miss out, and now you have like 100. And imagine you were at 51, you have 138 paints right now, but you missed out on the one of one.
Yep.
That's gotta feel bad. And I'm sure we're gonna see. Yeah, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of FOMO and a lot of movement in this bottom 10 to 15 spots. I'm kind of fully expecting it to move, and I may have to be watching it closely, and I may need to add a few more just to make sure I secure it, because at this point, I'm a little bit too deep just to like, hey, I'm already close to that one of one.
Being
what's a
that
little bit
close.
being that close, you just gotta sometimes we do the send it segment. Sometimes you just gotta send it, secure that bag, secure that one of one. But yeah, I think a lot of people that we know, I think most of our chat, most of the people in the discords have been buying into this, so I'm curious to see the distribution. Actually, let me go back down real quick.
We ain't on no top 50, I can tell you that.
But the interesting thing is, like, even though there's 26,000 purchased, there's not going to be 26,000 individual NFTs, right? Like, this could only be a collection numbered out of 7,000, right? Because all the
merging and
multiples
stuff.
are merged into one NFT. So that's why I
Yeah.
think the strategy for someone for this is to either buy just one or go for top 50. maybe a multiples will be good. I don't know, but I think just even buying one, I think that's really safe right now. Especially it gives you exposure to Fiwo, it gives you exposure to his metaverse, to his drops later in the year, his airdrops, and I mean, if you have a 1 out of 7,000 from Fiwo, I could see just even those single ones pumping to an easy 2x from this. That's just my opinions. Any final thoughts on this and moving forward? And I'm sure we're going to be all watching the end of this to see how it shakes up.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's a banger. Pharaoh, just again, like his personality, his skill, his network, his collector base, just like everybody, or I can't say everybody, a large majority of the people in the space are so behind him and just want to see him succeed and do well in the space. And I think you've seen that with the amount of volume that the project already has had. And then I think you're going to see another huge spike going into the end of the sale. I think that I would try to split it into 2 wallets. So if you're not going to well and try to get into top 50, I would suggest maybe splitting it into 2 wallets, just that way. So that way it gives you some type of exit in case you did want to sell. Like it ends up being pretty successful, but you don't want to because your paints do merge. So like if you only do it in 1 wallet, you're only going to be able to sell that one NFT.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, separate wallets. And also, once it does close later and everyone gets their NFTs dropped to them later today, I think, or at some point this week, there may be a good buying opportunity. A lot of these people in pre-sale, maybe they just bought one for 500 and they're looking for a quick flip. So on secondary, maybe you could pick one up for less than the public mint cost. And I think that would be a good play. And I may be looking for that as well.
Yeah. So for those of you who were part of Pac's collection, which was merge. That's kind of the same mechanic, just its initial part. And I know some of you kind of just felt bad or felt like you took an L because you minted, 3, 4, 5, 10 of them, and then they all merged into one, and then you weren't able to sell that individually. So just, learn your lesson from last time.
Yeah.
And try to split it up into 2 accounts, 2 wallets.
Yep. All right, so we already talked a little bit about Azuki's earlier during the market update. We've also got, Friday was a tough day on social media because it was April Fool's Day, and NFT Twitter it was unbearable. It was a lot of stuff you could say was cringe, a lot of posts out there, but we had some gems out there from post. I don't know if you saw this post from Azuki's on Friday on April Fool's, but they sent out this tweet, a picture of their airdrop, and said, "Refresh your metadata." And I saw that and I was like, oh shit, here we go. It's already starting. But what ended up revealing was a pile of dirt. I thought it was hilarious. Whenever you saw this, what was your first reaction when you saw them, hey, refresh your metadata, and then it was just revealed to just a pile of dirt inside the box?
I thought it was pretty funny, but it's obvious that it was gonna be an April Fool's joke for that day. Like we knew that wasn't the end.
Absolutely.
But it was pretty genius to me. Like that's the first thing that came to my mind, is because you're gonna get everybody talking about it on Twitter, and not only like if you would have revealed the full thing, like sure it would have still got everybody talking about it. But this kind of allows you to like spread out that hype even over multiple days, and even get other people who weren't interested in Azuki or the airdrop at least talking about it too, because like it's a joke, it's April Fool's, like it's a meme almost, and people who weren't maybe necessarily interested or in that circle as a part of that reach, now they are, because it was funny as hell.
Yeah, they didn't let it last too long. They quickly they built a story around it, like saying like, hey, Bobu the farmer gave the official Twitter password to some strange blue figure, and there's gonna be some weird tweets. And this happened on Saturday. So on Saturday, they ended up revealing. Basically, they updated the collection, and let me go back to it. But so they released this. Said, "What's up, wahaha, Beans was here," and it's basically, this is what the collection's gonna be. It's these, these beans, these blue beans, maybe these red beans. But so far, it's just these blue ones, and they all re-revealed into this new collection. They updated the name to something of. There we go. They updated it from something official to Beans official. And we saw the floor price from this jump to 7.5 ETH. It's back down to 5.4 after that initial hype and everything. It's staying steady here. But now we have these beans now. There's kind of more clarity, and this says coming soon. We don't know how soon is soon, but yeah, they've updated it, so it looks like you're probably going to be getting these maybe generative companions of these beans. Looks like, if I had to assume, but I kind of think they missed. Like I really wish they would have kept going with this updating the metadata idea, like this, like starting here. Because the metadata right now, it's centralized on their end, so they can update it for free. It doesn't cost them gas to update it or anything. They can just update it and ask people to refresh it, and it changes something. So I think it would have been cool. They have this whole idea of, hey, this is Azuki, it's the garden, it's these beans. Like, it would have been so cool to have, like, if they updated it every day, and there's like every day there's a change to this pile of dirt, like a little bean sprout grew up, and then it keeps growing and growing and growing, and eventually it turns into like where it's ready to bloom, and that's never the actual NFTs or the companions are revealed. I think that would have been a really cool, like, engaging way to handle it, but obviously that was just for like a little April Fool's thing for them, and they quickly changed to what the actual collection is. But what were your thoughts on this process, how they rolled it out, and what you think this may turn into?
I think it was fun, like you said. Maybe they could have taken it a step further, would have been cool, but at the same time, even just messing with metadata and stuff like that, it could at the same time be fudded, because you can kind of be juicing other people's wallets, right? Because they're literally showing you like, hey, we can do whatever we want with the metadata. And so whatever, if the beans have a rarity to them, if they have some type of quality or characteristic that makes them more beneficial than others, that's also like a cause for concern or fun at the same time, because they haven't shown us any provenance to where, like, this token that you had in the beginning is the same one that you will have after we do 2, 5, 10, 20 metadata changes,
right?
So I get like both sides. It's cool though, it's fun, it's like a little bit of a change up. It's not innovative by any means, but it's something that a lot of collections don't do. And it honestly, it was like perfect timing too, because there was a lot of hype being built up. Yeah,
they did a good job of really catching the hype and keeping it going for more than just a day or two.
Yeah,
and what's crazy is
something that they just did in a day. They're like, oh yeah, bro, April Fool's is tomorrow, let's do something. It's like it was premeditated.
And what's crazy is, we talked about that Azuki volume for the last 7 days was at 25,000. That doesn't include this collection. You look at this volume. This volume is not 7 days old. I mean, this collection happened Wednesday night, so we're not even 7 days old yet. And this has 15,000 volume traded. So Azuki's as a whole is basically, if you include this, it's like 40,000 ETH traded in the last 7 days. Which, whew, man, that is a lot. So we had some other news happen over the weekend. This was speculated for a while. This was hinted at. It was, it's been months in the making, but the transition finally happened, and this collection's pumped since then, even more. But here's the news. I don't know if you're ready for this. I know you're a big. You're a big fan of this collection. I already know. You are your penguin, and your penguin is you, right, Jeremy?
Absolutely, 1,000%.
So we had, officially the Pudgy Penguin sale transition happened. So Pudgy Penguins under new ownership. Finally, this has been, like I said, 2-3 months in the making. Their next chapter's begun. I think they've risen to like over 3 ETH now. Like people really are buying into this new leadership that they're going to bring value to them, instead of just dropping them fishing poles as their companion. So we've got also this tweet from Cole. He said he's officially no longer affiliated with the team in any way. He's just a community member. And so Cole's gone. He got kicked out basically.
Let's go.
Again, he's using his holders as exit liquidity for another time. This time just selling the project outright. They ended up. Did you see the price that it sold for?
No, not the overall collection. Nope.
Yeah. So it was bought for 750 ETH.
Dang. Yo, that's wild.
Yeah. I don't think either of us are Pudgy Penguin holders. We would never
yet.
bought. Not yet. Let's, not closing the door. Anything could happen. Now that they've changed ownership and directions, does this interest you more now, or are you still just kind of like, you know what? It's your decision's been made up on them.
I'd have to go see like the history of the new owners and also like maybe some of the first announcements that they make. Like, what's the next thing that they're gonna do now that this is done? Are they gonna just keep the culture of that community kind of the same going forward, just without what's his face, and then or are they completely trying to change the narrative of Pudgy Penguins and the culture behind that project? So I'm waiting for that, but I'm not opposed to it. But to be honest, like I said before, like really not too interested in a lot of getting into new PFP projects.
Right.
This could be one that I'm not too disappointed if I never get in.
Yeah, Hunter says he's not buying now, but maybe around the 70th mark, and then he'll buy. So that's usually the strategy, right? It's like, I'm not interested in this one, but it pumps up like, oh, it's pumping. Okay, now it's a good project. I'm gonna buy in now.
Yeah, I mean, he says that as a joke, but at the same time, like that's kind of what this community is kind of known for as well, right? Like they are really good pumpers.
Yeah,
like, absolutely. And I don't know if that changes without Cole in there.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think like the whole like cope and copium memes really came from, I mean, that's been a thing for a while, but I think the Pudgy Penguins took it to the next level because they had so much hate against them, and they had so much hate, rightfully so. I don't want to discount like oh, it wasn't undeserved. Like, it was deserved. Like the way that the community acted and the way that they had the artificial pumps going on, the way that Cole was handling things. They really pushed this whole like, oh, well, you don't like this, well, that's just copium because you're not part of it, and they really pushed that, and it's something I didn't really vibe with, and we'll see if that culture changes or if it kind of stays the same. And I'm not going to be buying in. I'm not interested in buying in at any price point, but I'm curious and interested to follow along just from as a viewer on the outside. I'm going to get some popcorn, I'm going to sit back and just watch from the sidelines. Mm-hmm. And then cool. Any final thoughts on Pudgy Penguins, the sale? I guess I just want to get your thoughts. What's your thoughts on in general in a project selling to like a new owner? Pretty much, like we haven't seen this too often yet, right? Yeah. Like we've seen projects being handed off to, like, hey, this person is soft rugging, but they're gonna hand off ownership to the community, and here's the keys, basically. But we haven't really seen too many of like, hey, this project's being bought out for several $1 million. I guess what's your general thoughts and just reactions to that happening?
I think there's more bad than good, to be honest, for the most part. If there's not like a no, I mean, yeah, I guess there really isn't anything. Yeah, I think it's just more bad than good. It's like maybe another potential price to like get in, but then at the same time, like, do you really want to get into a project that obviously was unsuccessful for some reason or multiple reasons, and then take on that risk of having new owners or people who are leading the project and not knowing what they can do or where they're going to take it? So yeah, I think just overall it's more bad than good, but it doesn't mean that it's destined to fail.
Right.
But I would imagine that most of them do, versus projects that don't sell. And this is very different than like Yuga Labs buying punks at the same time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm in agreement with you. It's definitely more bad than good. It's nothing. That's kind of like that. I guess we see a lot of like that Web 2 layover mentality kind of into that kind of process of building something up and selling out for someone else to take over. But I mean, we're going to see that crossover. We're going to see that into Web 3. Whether people like it or not, it's going to be there. I think this kind of opens the door down the road now to people saying like, "Hey, my project, it's got secondary sales. I don't want to run it anymore. Let's see who I can sell it to." And we may see more people shifting to that kind of mindset, which will not be great for the community. But we had this tweet go out yesterday. I saw it. I thought it'd be kind of fun for us to talk about. There's issues with it, but it's just a fun little exercise. I don't know if you saw this, but hey, this person tweets out this picture, like this like tier, like these prices. You have 150 ETH. What are you buying? How do you spread that out right now? And obviously we can go back and forth. All these prices aren't like mutants aren't at 30, they're at like 24 right now. But if we just kind of ignore that and I think you can get the idea behind it in general. What would your process be if this is your situation? You're brand new to NFTs, but you know what you know now. Let's take that with the caveat. And you have 150 ETH, and what do you buy?
You asking me everything, or do I agree with this picture?
You're not going to agree with this picture. This is like this is your tier set. You can pick whatever you want. You can pick, hey, I want to buy 5 Azukis at 30 ETH each, and there's my 150 ETH. Or you can do one Bored Ape and whatever you want to. Obviously the prices are different, but
I'd probably load up on some Clone X, to be honest, and maybe one Azuki in there. I don't even know if I go with. It's hard. You know what? Yo, give me one of each. Give me one Azuki, one Clone X, one Bored Ape.
Okay.
I almost
so
wanted
one
to take
one OG Bored Ape.
Yeah, I almost wanted to take the riskier play, just loading up on Clone X, because I do think they have a huge ceiling to come. I think that the team behind Clone X is just, they have a lot that they're not showing or even sneak peeks of. They're like technological innovators. They always have been in this space, NFT wise, because of the team coming from Artifact. So yeah, I think the ceiling is very high there. So I almost wanted to just load up on Clone X, but at the same time, I think just having a Bored Ape, an OG Bored Ape itself, like, it's just gonna continue to pay you out in almost everything that they do.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you can't argue with that. It looks like Q-Dog says he would do an ape and a Zuki and a Doodle. So kind of almost similar to you a little bit, but instead of the Clone X, he's subbing in the Doodle. Looks like Dort, he would do an ape and a Zuki, and then 20 ETH of ApeCoin, which, hey, I mean, that's not a bad play either, and you'd get exposure to that, go for that Otherside land.
Yeah, that's a good call out right there, Dort.
Yeah. I wish that was an option, but Hunter says Azuki, Clone X, WoW, and then wait for Basie to hit 90. Classic Hunter.
Yeah.
All right, I think for me, man, yeah, like I was trying to think of ways, like, man, I basically had like 2 sets in my mind, like one with taking a Bored Ape and one with not taking an OG Bored Ape. But I think like you said, like the benefits far outweigh. It's just such a safe play right now if you have that much liquidity to go with and you don't already have a Bored Ape. I think I would also go with an OG Bored Ape and then probably 10 Cryptodes.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of my DJ play here. Like, what the heck would I do if I wanted to fade Bored Apes and Azukis and stuff like that? Like, what would be my DJ play?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would probably do, like, realistically, one Bored Ape, and then I would probably grab an Azuki, and then that gives me 20 ETH left. And I know that they've. Maybe I dabble into that 10 ETH range. You get like multiples. Maybe I get a cool cat in a WoW, or maybe I get 2 cool cats, just because basically banking on, hey, if they can figure this game out, then they've got the same upside potentially as Azuki's, Doodles, and Clone X's, right? If they can get everything figured out. That's a big if, because if they don't, it could go back down to 2 ETH. So the degen part of me is like, hey, maybe I get like this safe asset, and then maybe I go for like a risky one like that.
Yeah. The other thing I can see myself doing is if I couldn't grab a blue chip or the Zukis and stuff, is I would get one Clone X, one Doodle, one Gutter Cat Gang, and then 5 Cool Cats, 5 World of Women. That's what I do.
You wouldn't get a mutant if you didn't get an OG. Would you not? You wouldn't want to add a mutant to that.
I still consider them more of
you
like
would still have that exposure.
Yeah, I'm still trying like not to pick from them. Like pretty much anything above 30.
Yeah. You could tell the person that made this list, he like included his own avatar at 10, like a V1 punk, not even the original punks. Like, usually this is already a biased list from the good beginning, but it's a fun experiment just to kind of go through. Obviously, we could have a more realistic list with actual prices and actual projects.
Hey, don't fade the MFers either.
Hey, absolutely. And honestly, like, I mean, I look at this 5e range, like I'm looking at like these, like the Cyber Kongs, like this is the baby Kongs. I mean, that could be a good, exposure to the Kongs as well. And, the Cyber Brokers are on here. Like, there's a lot of good stuff on here that you could diversify with, but it's easy to, if you have that big of a bag, just to kind of go into the safe options. All right, so we've also got, I think you shared this with me yesterday. I've seen it posted on other Discords since then, so I think it's starting to make its circulation around. But we've got a lot of this Bored Ape Otherside rumors, speculation, and I just kind of wanted to break it down and let's get our thoughts on it. So we've got like this list has been sent out or typed out, and it's from this kind of, like you said, like an alpha whale. It's not confirmed, but this person has been right more times than not, correct?
Yep.
So the first thing is no land for dogs, and then they also say land is like a circle.
Should we put this on the screen somewhere at all? Like, can we do that? I don't know if
we
can.
Yeah, we can.
Or something.
I can do this. Yeah, give me like 10 seconds.
Right. Yo. We're here live with Jeremy coming at you with the alpha. Let's pump something. Don't sell below 1 ETH. If you sell below 1 ETH, you're kicked from the Discord. No cap. Ban them. What are we buying today, boys? Pudgy penguins, baby penguins. What do we got?
All right, I've got it. I just need to zoom in. I need to change my screen so it'll show this. Okay.
Oh no.
Oh no, there we go.
Oh no.
Okay.
There we go.
Let's zoom in some more. All right, so we've got, these are kind of the notes. So this is a little bit better than me reading it out, so people can keep sending it. So we're seeing it. But all right, so the first one we got no land for dogs, which I think we kind of expected, right? And that's not really breaking. That was to be expected. And then we start getting into this stuff that's maybe like, this is some new information, right? Like, so land is like a circle. OG apes get the middle, mutants get the outside middle. So they're still in the middle, but they're not. They're kind of the outside of the outer ring. What's your thoughts on like if that's how that's gonna be?
I wonder if there's like a mechanic tied to that, like, let's say metaverse activities or like events happen across the land, and depending on the tokens earned or some type of like currency earned within the game, maybe there's a bigger multiplier for the inner land,
right?
Or and then less for the outer, and then like as you go outside, there's less of like a scalability or like a factor, a multiplication factor to the earnings. The other stuff is maybe it's just bigger in the center, or maybe it's just, even without all that stuff, pretty much in any metaverse that you see out there, if there's a center to it, right, like a capital or a center, those are always the more valuable ones. And then also at the same time, not all 10,000 OG Bored Apes can have a plot that's in the center, so those are going to be randomly distributed as well. So if those mechanics are in there, There's also going to be like a luck factor, kind of like the serums. If you got an M1, M2, M3, like,
Yeah.
are you going to get a core? Are you going to get that outer layer? So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, but I like that for sure.
Yeah, and I wonder like if someone owns multiple apes, like if it's going to default to them having like adjacent land together, or if it's going to be just random,
All random, yeah.
right? Like, or like is Dingling going to have all of his 107 plots all adjacent? And he has this huge plot in the middle, or is it going to be like all over the place? I don't know. It's going to be interesting how that is.
Hopefully it's random.
If I was guessing, I would guess it's random, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So we also have Animoca is taking on all the securities, legal risk for land, and that's why they're doing a KYC. This basically hints at the reason why people are doing this KYC that ended on Friday. That's basically to purchase land, what it sounds like, right?
Yeah, like you I guess you're gonna need a KYC to count in order to partake in the upcoming sale.
Right. And then Gaio Siri, who's one of the big contributors, one of the big people on the team for Bored Ape Yacht Club. He's a big reason why they are what they are today. He's been telling people that a big priority is that they need to show a lot of utility, so they have a lot of things that will be given to holders. So what I'm hearing is some more airdrops, maybe some more ape coin, maybe, we got some, the gift that keeps on giving, right? It's just it's nonstop, and we like that.
We don't know the utility of the land, right? Like, are we
True.
going to be able to build on it, or is it going to come pre-built? Like, we have no say in
Yeah.
the customization of the land. Are we going to be able to host events on it? Are we going to be able to rent it out? We don't know any of that. So, think of in terms of utility, like Gaio Siri is trying to preach for. Maybe they're going to airdrop us assets. Maybe it's going to be a swamp house or other stuff like that. So
Yeah, we already know that one airdrop's going to be these codas, right? That's going to be airdropped to some of the landholders, not all of the landholders, but it's going to be some of them. There's going to be 10,000, so you get a chance at them.
Yeah, the potential, the people who are eligible for the coda airdrop is going to be anybody who owns the land.
Right. Yeah. So we also have holders don't need to do KYC because they're not buying the land. They're just getting it dropped. It sounds like, which they didn't really. That's one thing I was like, they weren't clear at that, right? They just said like, hey, here's a KYC, do it. They weren't. So I'm sure all the ape holders pretty much did KYC anyways, just to do it
on a different wallet though, maybe. So
yeah,
they
but
don't know that they're necessarily holders.
That's true. Yeah, because my Ledger wallet has my apes, and I did the KYC in my hot wallet. So
yeah,
that is true. That's valid. And then the big thing, which I thought it was already a guarantee, but there was still speculation and people arguing about it, is land will most definitely be purchased with ape coin. I thought that was already. I thought it was kind of dumb. People were arguing it's going to be with ETH, but what's the point of this ape coin, right? It's a utility token. It's what you use it to buy it with. So that just kind of further solidifies the point that it's going to be purchased in ape. So
yeah, if that confuses you at all, just think of Sandbox, right? Like Sandbox land sales or the estate sales and stuff. The parcels are all bought with sand. And does that mean you can't buy it in ETH? No, that means you go to Uniswap or wherever DeFi exchange that you use, turn the ETH into sand, and then purchase it with sand. So
absolutely,
it's not a big deal. It's like, I don't even know why it's a conversation.
Yeah, and I guess I'm not an expert on the Sandbox drops. Like, I think I participated in one, but I know they usually had a drop like every Thursday, so it was pretty consistent. So maybe it didn't affect it as much, but because I'm curious how, like, once the drop was announced, like, what the price of ApeCoin is going to do leading up to it. I guess we probably wouldn't see too much movement with the sand price, since it was more of a consistent schedule for them, and it was a weekly release every single week on the same day, pretty much, as opposed to just, hey, one big drop. So I'm really curious to see the ApeCoin price leading up to the drop, and also the price after the drop.
You'll see a micro movement for sure. I
Absolutely.
mean, it's something in the like single digit percentages, I'd imagine, in terms of the little pump, and then after the sale, there would definitely probably be a drop off. Because after the sale, then they're probably NFTs, and people will just list them in ETH if they're on LooksRare and OpenSea. But we never know. Maybe there's a whole entire marketplace dedicated to the land, and just like Sandbox, and you buy that with Ape. And if that happens, then maybe you don't see as much of a dip, because people don't have to sell off. They just take the Ape that they pre-bought and then now go participate in the secondary. So
Yeah, and Hunter has a good point here. Like, is it, it may be a good time to buy ApeCoin right now. A lot of people seem to be liquidating the ApeCoin to buy into Zuki, buy into Duels, Clonex, buy into these blue chips. So the price is going down. Not thinking about the Otherside sales happening here soon in this month, and as soon as that's announced, we're probably gonna see a pump. So it could be a good time to buy and stock up on ApeCoin now. I think it looks like Dort kind of shares that opinion as well, and I would tend to agree. If you already don't have a bag of ApeCoin and you want to buy this land, and you're looking to buy ApeCoin, now would be possibly a good time, but definitely something to keep an eye on and watching, because you don't want to be waiting and waiting and waiting, and then the announcement happens, and all of a sudden the price jumps up $1 or $2, right? So definitely, if you want to buy land, be looking at that. And then the last thing, which is, I know this is exciting for Dort. He's basically in Miami. This is exciting for a lot of the Florida people. Yuga has bought a physical IRL location in Miami that members will have priority access to. This has been hinted at in the past. Like, there's going to be like this physical, this Miami hangout, this physical location. From the sounds of this, it looks like it may be already bought, right? Which is kind of crazy. Maybe it's bought and they're already building something, and it's just by the time they announce it, it's like, hey, by the way, they're gonna send out a tweet, F it, doors open on Saturday, grand opening, right? And we get priority access to. So do you think it's gonna be a club? Is it a bar? Is it a restaurant? Is it just like some kind of random venue? Like, I guess I would expect it to be some kind of like club bar type of thing.
Yeah, I would imagine it to be some type of club, especially because the demographic obviously is, like, for the most part, of legal age, right? All adults, besides Gokina. but yeah, I mean, what else are you gonna do in Miami, right? Maybe golf. Yeah, so golf and clubbing. So I think that it's some type of club. And the other thing is that I wonder if somebody can go out there and find it already, because we do know the identities of some of the co-founders, and then obviously like their business name and doing business as and whatnot. So I don't know, maybe somebody can do investigative work out there and find that.
Yeah, 'cause I know Dort's part of like the Florida Apes Discord, is part of that community. It sounds like a bunch of the Miami Apes are looking through, they're like digging through the lane sales trying to find a link. So
yeah,
I think this kind of alpha, this kind of like bullet list just broke out and started circulating yesterday and today. So maybe by Wednesday, our next stream, we're gonna have like, hey, there's a pretty good chance that this is the location that they bought.
But to be honest, I wouldn't trust Miami Apes. Miami Apes, they're not the sharpest tool in the shed.
Okay.
Anybody in Florida, so.
I need a new co-host. This guy's just canceling people and alienating our viewer base. We just lost like 10 viewers because of that comment.
I mean, bro, it's Miami Apes and DMT. Like, you can't trust them.
Okay, well, I agree with the DMT apes, but I don't know. When I went to Miami, I kind of liked Miami. It was nice. But yeah, so there's a lot of information here. We're gonna see how much of it actually is true, the time frame of it, what happens, and I'm sure once this gets even more circulated, we're gonna see speculations galore on Twitter. We're gonna see internet sleuths like diving into the information, trying to dig in, trying to find that IRL location. But yeah, I'm here for it. I'm ready to kind of see it broken down more and see it come to fruition. Any final thoughts on any of those points?
Nah, I mean, it's unfortunate. It's in Miami, but
you're gonna have to actually you're gonna actually have to leave Texas,
yeah,
and go to Florida. Does that hurt to say? Are you gonna visit it? I know you hate leaving Texas. I know you. You want everything to stay in your little bubble in Dallas.
No, like LA would be cool. Like over there in Seattle would be cool, but like
Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle. Hell yeah, because it's a swamp house, bro. Like, I guess Florida makes sense, but at the same time,
there ain't no swamps in Seattle. It's just gloomy and rainy the whole time.
Yeah, you could find one.
This man said Seattle. I mean, Cavs would like that. That's like around his, like the Pacific Northwest, right in his ballpark. But that doesn't make any sense for a yacht
Costa
club.
Rica.
Okay, Costa Rica. Puerto Rico. We're gonna go hang out with manga.
Yeah, see, like I'd be down for that, but like, why do you gotta pick New York City and Miami?
Hunter's got a good point. Nashville, right? Kansas, Kansas City. You know, just put it right here in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
There's at least one lake in Kansas. You know.
Yes, sir. But
all right.
It's gonna be dope wherever it is. I mean,
Yeah.
we already know that.
Cool. All right. Well, we can move on to. We've got 2 segments today. We've got our first one is a tried and true segment, and I thought it was a good time because we saw a lot of these blue chips pump, and we saw a lot of retracing, which means whenever we see retracing, we see price pumps, we see price drops. You know what else we see a lot of?
Cappers.
We see a lot of cappers. We see a lot of paper hands people. They get a little squeamish. They say that the price movement they can't stomach it. So we haven't done this in a bit, so we got another Paperhands segment coming to you. We've got the Paperhands NFT that Yo Jeremy made. This beautiful 3D model of a paper hand that just rotates, and we are going to present some cases of paper hands that happened in the last couple days. And chat, you guys are going to decide which paper hands is the worst, and they are going to be rewarded with this beautiful 3D model of a paper hand sent to them from Yo Jeremy. So, without further ado, we've got some paper hands to show off. So are you ready, Yo Jeremy?
Let's get it.
Okay. First one, I left the apes out of it last time, but with how successful they've been, if you sell an ape at a loss right now, then you're doing something wrong, right? Mm-hmm. So let's look at this ape. You know, it's a kind of clean ape. It's got the military helmet. It's got, you know, the torn black shirt. It's got that board. It's got that tired look. So let's look at what happened. This person bought this ape for 129 ETH 2 months ago, and then this morning they took a WETH offer for 100 ETH. Same account, so this was not a hacked ape or anything. This is just someone just said, you know what, I'm tired of it, and let's look at the floor price for Bored Apes. They took an 100 WETH offer, 10 ETH cheaper than the actual floor price. They just left, I mean, what's ETH at right now? 3,400? They left 35,000 on the table right now just by taking that WETH offer instead of letting it sit for a little bit. And I'm curious, we try to we try to look into what are some of the other, factors, how long do they hold it for? I want to look at this person and see if they actually listed it, right? They listed it for, they started off high, right? They started off at 500, 666, 300 ETH. Then they're like, you know what? Let's get real. Let's drop it 500 ETH. Let's go to 109, 108, back up to 120, and then this is all over the span of like this morning, like an hour or so. But they couldn't wait any longer, so instead of just leaving it at the floor at 109, just letting it sit there for a day, they just decided it's too long. They need the money now, and they took an offer of 10 ETH cheaper than the sale, than the floor. So that's a pretty bad one. But yeah, so we got this Bored Ape, and how bad do you think this one is? 30 ETH loss in 2 months, and they took an offer.
I mean, that's pretty bad because, one, you held it for so long. You had so many opportunities. And then, two, just the terrible listing method. And then you end up taking an offer that's 10 ETH below the floor on the #1 collection out there. So, right. I mean, that's a fat L.
that's a big fat L. Maybe there's something happening today that they needed this money this morning, right? They could not wait.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll give them a benefit of the doubt, but also it's a lot going on there. But all right, So next one, we've got a doggo, a nice little 4-trait dog. That's a clean dog. 4-trait dog, sticking his tongue out. This one was bought 2 days ago for 8.88 ETH. Was sold this morning for 7.2 ETH. So 1.6 ETH loss in 2 days.
This one,
that's tough.
I don't know. Was involved in a trade or if he sent it back to his hot wallet or something, but
yeah, it did change hands a little bit. I don't know,
but either way, like if it's the person who it got traded to or if the person who bought it, like either way, even if you say he bought it and sold it for 7.2 or if that person traded for it and then sold it at 7.2, either way it's a 1.6 loss, so within 2 days.
Yeah, there's no ETH involved in this trade, so it wasn't like an NFTX or an NFT trader thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a different like hot wallet or something that he sold it that it was sent to. But yeah, I mean a 1.6 loss in 2 days. That's it's pretty bad. That's not good trading. We try to avoid those.
Yeah, the only other thing I could think of is maybe you had a mutant or a Bored Ape to claim, like a combo. But then at the same time, it's like, why would you claim the Bored Ape token and then sell it for the 1.6 loss instead of just buying like 1.6 ETH of Ape token? I don't know.
Well, once the dog's claimed, it's already claimed. Like you can't reuse it to pair it with a.
I'm saying
so.
That's maybe why he bought it though.
Yeah.
Like to combo it.
Maybe, because I don't even know what's the floor on the dogs right now.
But
7.25. So yeah, he's bought it above floor and sold it for right around floor, pretty much.
Yeah. So either way though, it's just really weird. Whether it's trade or not, it's a 1.6 loss. Even if you claim the Ape coin as the bonus, doesn't make sense. Yeah, this just seems like a fast L. You know,
Yeah.
like homie didn't know what he was doing.
He didn't know. All right, we've got two more, and we've got Azuki's because it was kind of guaranteed that there were gonna be some Azuki trades on here. So with they pumped to 34 ETH and they dropped down to 26 at 1.25. They're back around 27, 28. So we've got this one. Yeah, that's an Azuki, right? I'm honestly not a fan of like this like nose bubble. Like it's just so weird to me. But I'm not a
snot bubble.
Yeah, it's like a snot bubble. I'm not a fan of it, but hey, it's there. Take that away, it's a super clean Azuki. But this person, they bought it 2 days ago for 33.33 ETH, the same account. Sold it 13 hours ago. Basically held it for like a day and a half, and they sold it for 28.5. So after fees, you're looking at basically a 5 ETH loss in a day and a half. Ooh.
Talk about buying the top.
Talk about buying the top and then getting like that squeamish and that like, oh man, okay, I can't handle this.
Yeah. If you have 33 ETH to just like toss around on Azuki, like probably, yeah, you would think that you'd have bigger diamond hands than just that.
Yeah.
Like, for more than 2 days. Like you can afford to hold that thing for more than 2 days just in case the market turns around again.
Hunter says, same person will say NFTs are a scam. I've only lost money on NFTs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's facts. Dork God says tax harvest. I mean, hey, maybe it is. Maybe they just target pumps to get tax harvesting. But hey, at least they can write off their taxes. But still, that's a 5 ETH loss in a day and a half. That's more than a lot of people have to play with, right? So that's one Azuki, and then we got one more Azuki, and this is my personal favorite one. I mean, this is like pretty clean Azuki, right? It's looking nice. Doesn't have a snot bubble, so it's got that going for it. But we go down, we can see it was sold a day ago for 25 ETH. That person bought it, and then a day ago, it was another offer was taken for 23.6. Now the funny thing is, it says a day ago, but if you look at the times, so this was sold. This was sold at 7:05, right? 7:05 p.m. They accepted this offer, and then the person that the offer was accepted for accepted another offer. 35 minutes later, they sold it for, I mean, basically after fees again, like a 2 ETH loss in 30 minutes. And their offer was accepted. They probably panicked and they accepted the next highest offer and sent to that person. And now the floor is back up to like 27 or 28. So this person lost 2 ETH in half an hour because they had an offer out. And this is when that time frame that Azuki started dumping quite a bit. So if you looked at the sales feed, it was just all ETH offers being taken, right? All these offers were being taken. And I guess this person's offer was taken. They had some offers out. They got scared thinking that this was the end, it was going to drop. So they ended up selling it again, thinking like, hey, let's just get back out let's just get back what we can out of it instead of just holding it up. But yeah, I mean, what's your thoughts on this one and this half-hour loss?
That's pretty tough because This is another one where they're just trying to like get in on the pump and ride the hype and stuff. And then again, if you have that amount of money to throw out a 25 ETH offer, you would think that you'd have the balls to hold on to these more than a couple hours. And
Man, you would think, right? You would think. Yeah, so those are our 4 options this week. So I don't know if you want to get the poll, if you want to get the poll ready. We're gonna have chat decide while you're getting that ready. I'll go ahead and review these again. So we've got 2 Azukis and a Bored Ape and a Kennel Club. So just going back again, Bored Ape, real quick. 2 months ago, bought for 130, took a WETH offer for 100, and totally did bring up a good point. That they got in this time frame that they did get ApeCoin, right? They were able to claim the ApeCoin, but still the sale doesn't make sense for the time being. Like the way that they listed it, they just rush sold it for 10 ETH less than the floor.
Yeah, either way it doesn't matter because you still should sell at the floor. But he took an offer for 100, so it doesn't make it any better really.
And it's not like it's not like this guy had it sitting on the floor for days, right? It sat on the floor for 2 hours, and that was too long for him. So we've got this Bored Ape, we've got the Kennel Club that was basically a 2-day hold, and they lost 1.6 ETH. And then we've also got the 2 Azukis. We've got the Azuki Snot Bubble, 5 ETH loss in a day and a half. They bought the top and they sold at pretty much close to the bottom. And then we also have the other Azuki, and this was the WETH offers, the 30-minute hold for 2 ETH loss. So chat, let us know which one of these is the worst case of Paperhands. Poll may be up now, or it's gonna be up soon. You guys can vote, and whoever wins, like I said, Jeremy's gonna send them a Paperhands NFT, and we'll see how it goes.
All right, let's see. Paperhands winner. Bake, Azuki, my mouse.
Let's do like Azuki 1 for the for this one, and Azuki 2 for that.
And then the Kennel Club, right?
Yep, and then
those 4.
Yep.
Cool. Let's do this for 3 minutes. And the poll is up.
All right, poll is up. Everyone vote. Let us know what you think. We got the Azuki male, Azuki female, the Basie, and the Bake, and then the Kennel Club. I want to get your thoughts, Jeremy. What do you think? What would be the one that you vote for out of these 4?
These are some pretty. First of all, I think all 4 of these guys or people, whatever, like all 4 of these people, got to be really stupid. They gotta be dumb. Like, I'm not sell shaming them if you gotta sell, but it's the way that they sold.
Right.
That's the problem. Like, you can do it better than that. You could have saved more money. You could have earned yourself more money. You could have done quite a few things different. You could have even sold on Looks Rare. But yeah. So, but with all that being said, probably gonna go with the Bored Ape, man.
Go with the Bored Ape. Okay.
Yeah. You got to be hard fading Yuga Labs to take an offer up 100 after, buying for 133, even with claiming ApeCoin. Like, that's tough.
And this doesn't take into account too, like you're going to be able to stake your ape plus for more ApeCoin down the future, and you get land. Like you're getting, you already are guaranteed another 20, 30 ETH coming back your way just by holding this ape, right?
Just by holding for like 1 more month. Like, it's not even a whole month.
The land's coming. That's at least an ETH, and then the coin over the next 6 months to a year. Like I don't want to use the words passive income, but you're getting guaranteed value back already. Like it's not like a up in the air. Like maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. Like it's gonna happen. Yeah, that one's pretty egregious. I would probably vote for either the ape, but I think my vote definitely goes to the male Azuki. And that's just because I just can't handle the 30 minutes held like that. This person's willing to have an offer out that much and then regret the offer immediately and turn around and take the next highest offer.
I've seen, I give that person some. I know what that person's going through. I've seen Hunter make some junk buys before and it not work out, and kind of regrets it in the morning. So, I have some sympathy for that person.
Right. All right, we got just a little bit left on the poll. If you haven't voted yet, check the poll. Give us your thoughts, what you think, and then we'll break it down from there. But we also have, I guess, while we're waiting for that to end up, let's go in an intro to how our next segment's going to work. And how about, I do a lot of talking on that. I talk too much on this on these segments. I want you to break down. Give the fans what they want. Tell the viewers what's this next segment we're doing. What's this next test? What's it look like?
Hell yeah. So this time, today we're going to introduce you a new segment called Floor Finds. What that basically allows you to do is we're going to try to find the buys for different collections. Like we each have a separate collection somewhere near the floor, and we're going to show you kind of our strategy and method into finding the NFT that if we were buying into this collection, this is the one that we would pick. So it's not necessarily financial advice. Don't snipe us on it or anything like that. But we're just walking you through the process so that way you see kind of what goes through our minds. Not calling ourselves the best at it, but obviously we do have some success in finding the ones that are either towards the floor, even rare sometimes, and flipping those for profit. So you basically get a live look at what goes into our thoughts.
Yeah, and it looks like the winner of the poll was the Azuki male by 75%. There's 9 votes. It wasn't really close. Everyone, majority thinks this person,
Azuki 16,
whoever this JPEG queen, they're gonna have a paper hands coming their way. But yeah, like Jeremy said, we're gonna have this new segment, Floor Finds. So we each are gonna do a collection. We kind of debated if we should do the same one or a different one, but what we decided is one of us will do a more established collection, and one of us will do a newer collection. And in the future, we'll switch. So whoever does the newer one next time. So this week, Jeremy's gonna do the gutter clones, the cats, gang
Yes,
gang,
sir, gang gang,
and then I'm gonna do. I fudded this project on Friday, so it's only right that I come in to talk good about them and talk about buying them. So I'm going to be doing the doodles. Dort, I know you're listening. I know you're going to be happy for that. So I'm going to walk through me purchasing, if I was purchasing a doodles, what my process would be, what I would be looking for. So you want me to go first? You want to go first? How do you want to play this out? So we flip a coin. I can flip this bottle cap.
I'll go first. Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay.
Got to pull it up here. So let's see. Share screen, throw that up. Yo, dope. All right. So basically come to the gutter clone site because I know, hey, I want to buy into this project. I see that the floor is 0.6, so I keep that down in my head, 0.6. Kind of see the owner distribution as well here, but I'm not really keeping that part in my head, just the 0.6. And then the first thing I do is obviously filter to the buy now. Also check out the activity, what's the volume look like, what's the average price been. So go back to items, check out the buy now, and because I think I need a hard refresh actually. I need to authenticate. So this is my tool, right, with the fresh drops. Not everybody may have this, but there's different tools out there that will allow you to do this. So I have to hard refresh, buy now filter, and the reason I did that is because hopefully, what? Oh, I'm not on the Ethereum mainnet right now. 1 second. Scuffed.
Yo, leaks.
Yo, scuffed. What is Jeremy doing on Matic? I don't know. No, I sent the paper hands. That's why. Okay, so then I can see here, I don't know, there's 3.3 thousand. So I kind of like to look for maybe top 10%, at least top 20, but for sure top 10, or for sure top 20, but hopefully top 10. And really, I don't see any of that immediately on the floor. I like to start here and just go a few rows down, because if it's there, I wouldn't want to waste any more time and just immediately snipe it essentially. So then after I scroll down a few rows and I don't find that top 10%, I'd say, all right, this is too much work trying to look through OpenSea. Let me just go here to the fresh drops. Click on buy now. And then my max price, I may go let's say 20%, 30% above the floor. So let's just type in 0.8 and I'm gonna see if point 0.8 gets me into that top 10%, and then immediately I see 2 labels of 10% right here. This fur I kind of hate. I mean, it's not too bad, but personally, like I'm not vibing with it, so I wouldn't even consider it. This one's kind of clean, but it's also kind of boring, but it doesn't really matter because this might not be my forever gutter clone, right? This may not be my forever gang. So I'm pretty interested in this one, I guess. At 0.8, it kind of fits that scaling up thing in terms of if the floor is 0.6, for this one to be a top 10% at the moment, it's not a terrible buy at 0.8. But the other thing that you have to take into consideration is the amount imported in the gutter clones and then from that species. So tagline, I think for cats, there should be 3,000 total or 3,300
for like once all the vials are used.
Yeah, for cats specifically. Yeah,
for the cat specifically, there's gonna be 7,000 total, and looks like I think there's like 3,300 used
Kinda
so far.
like half from the OG and then half from just the vials themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically we have a little bit less than half, and that's an important thing. So this is kind of a cool example to show you guys because it's that dynamic reveal in terms of the cloning, and then also they're not all redeemed yet. That means there's about probably 60% left to be revealed. So although this is a top 10% for right now, this one is going to fall back probably right outside the top 10% if I had to guess, doing the math real quick. This one would probably be in the well, I guess in terms of cats, it may still be in the top 10%. If it's top 700, this one should still be okay. But in terms of the total collection, it definitely would not be in the top 10%. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for. But I think this one is a good look right here. What I may do is kind of just think, okay, what if I go crazy and I just bump it up just a little bit over what I'm actually willing to spend? So I had it at 0.8, right? I'm just going to take a quick look at 1 ETH just to make sure I don't miss any like diamonds in the rough. Maybe there's the number 30 at the moment for like 0.85 or for 0.9. That may entice me to go up and spend that much. So right now I pretty much found this one, number 927. The other thing I might do that Fresh Drops already has my back on already, but the other thing I might do is just go to Looks Rare and see if there's a huge price difference. Not on that specific clone, but just on a cat. So right now it's 0.64. So if you're only talking about sweeping floors, maybe Looks Rare is something that you look into because you're also going to get the activity rewards for participating on Looks. And then plus, if the other reason you may look at Looks Rare is because if you don't have Fresh Drops, well, Looks Rare has the rarities built in already. So, but just taking a quick look here, I don't see anything that's going to be popping out of me. There's like rank 906 right there, but that again for the same price, 0.77 versus a rank 190. I'm not interested. So that one was pretty quick, but it did have some little quirks and stuff that you guys may not take into consideration or that weren't super straightforward. But I think I found my guy. The only other twist to this would be if I knew the exact trait that I wanted, I could probably go into this trait window and select that specific one. But because this is kind of like a floor find, it's not my forever clone, like I don't care about that. So I'm not looking for a specific fur.
So you said it's not your forever clone, so this is your process of, like, in your mind, this is you approaching it like this is an investment type of thing, and you're looking at maybe flipping it down the road for more than you paid. And this would be your process for that.
Yeah, definitely flipping sometime later down the road, but this is also just making sure, like, when I build out my collection or when I build out my stack, I'm building out the best bang for the buck, the best value, right, in terms of rarity, money spent, and stuff like that. So this won't even be my only one. I plan to purchase more than this, and it's not my forever clone, but this is a good value add. And that's always, for me, I'm always doing like best bang for buck, best bang for buck. So I don't necessarily go up and snipe rares. I don't necessarily stack all the floor. So anything that somebody puts on the floor, I'm not sweeping it. I want to take an even better, more deeper look into it
Yeah.
And if I plan to buy 5, I'm trying to get 5 best bangs for the buck, and that's pretty much how I go about my business.
Cool. Yeah, that's good. All right, go ahead and buy it now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm buying.
All right, that's a good one. That's a good, like, a new project. I'm gonna share my screen again here. So I'm doing doodles. So obviously a more established project and a higher price point. I'm gonna have a very similar approach to Yo Jeremy about how I'm gonna do this, but maybe like with some slight differences. Obviously, we're both fresh drops maxis, so I'm gonna be doing the exact same thing with fresh drops. I'll be using that with my thing, but just taking a look at the floor. My very first thing I want to do is, obviously, I'm going to look at OpenSea. It's the most, it's the website that has the most volume. I'm just going to do a quick scroll through the floor here and just kind of just see what everything. I want to look at, what traits do I see at the floor? What's pretty common around here? Like if you did this with apes, you would see a lot of crazy eyes. You would see a lot of maybe that Prussian like helmet. You would see a lot of these like repeat traits that you see at the floor. So with doodles, with me just doing like a quick scroll, I'm looking at traits that I'm seeing at the floor, because I kind of want, if I'm looking for a floor buy that I want it to flip in the future, I want to try to buy a trait that's not commonly at the floor, right? And I see a lot of this, I see the cigarette trait, the smoking trait on a lot of these doodles around the floor. I'm probably gonna be trying to avoid that trait on my floor buy, even if it looks like a Viber, but that may be a trait that maybe people are off-put by, so they don't want to buy it. Maybe someone's not a smoker, or they don't smoke cigarettes, so they don't really vibe with that trait, and that's why it's at the bottom. So I'm gonna try to avoid that. So that's my first thing I'm gonna do by doing that, just by looking for this. And then similar to you, I'm gonna go to fresh drops, looking real similar. And if I'm looking at the floor, right now the floor is, we're at 16.7. So if I change my max purchase to, let's say, I'm looking at floor, I'm gonna look at 18. So I'm pretty close. And let's see kind of rarity. There's no top 10%. There's not really a lot going on for rarity. So once I see that, and you kind of expect that with an established project, you could expect like those top 10%, they're not going to be on the floor. So this is where that strategy would be a little bit different than Jeremy's is, instead of looking for that rarity one, I want to try to find a complete viber, right? Yeah. I want to try to find one that just looks super clean aesthetically, because those are the ones. Shout out Chili, he loves the vibers. I want to find one that is just so clean, super aesthetic, and one that that multiple people can relate to, multiple people can vibe with. Because if I'm looking at flipping it down the road and listing it on the floor, I want mine to be set apart differently than any of the others, and I want mine to stick out, and I want people to be drawn to it if I'm trying to sell it.
Yeah, because you do have, just real quick, is that you do have those people who don't necessarily pay up for rarity. They'll pay up for the overall aesthetics and the vibe, right? So
absolutely.
It's just another way to vibe. Rarity isn't everything. Rarity, I feel like, for the most part, just appeals to the most common buyer. But the most common buyer, if they're the most common, they're probably not a whale, right? And like whales are probably going for the vibers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and so because of that strategy, I'm not going to really use fresh drops this much, because I'm more looking at aesthetics instead of rarity. So we can go and get rid of that. Now, what I normally would do if I wasn't, trying to do it in one little small segment, what my normal strategy would be is to sit on the activity page, right? I have 2 screens on my workspace, so I would have listings pulled up on the side, basically on my left screen, just on the side while I'm working on my on my right screen. That way I can just see listings come in, as they come, because every now and then you'll get these deals. You'll get these people that list something at the floor that it shouldn't be at the floor, right? Maybe I'll see that 10% listed at the floor and I can scoop it up real quick. Or I see like a complete, like one that just like looks super clean. Maybe there's like a holographic one, or some kind of a rainbow color one that's listed at the floor that's really nice. And so that would be my usual strategy for an established project, is just not be in a rush, watch the floor. That's how I ended up buying that DMT ape a few months ago. I had the floor pull up for several days. I had ETH ready to go, and instead of just buying a floor right then and there, I just waited, and eventually I saw that DMT listed for 105 ETH, and I immediately knew it was a complete misprice, and I bought it as soon as it was listed and flipped it, as we know, for 100 ETH more like a month later.
That's a good note, is that like your patience, and because of your patience, that also allows you to do the research and have the knowledge of what are the market prices for these different traits, right? Or these different combinations. Like, hey, that's a DMT plus or whatever, and that shouldn't be at 105 ETH.
Yeah.
So you made yourself familiar with those traits in an established collection, so that way you could do that arbitrage of the floor value.
Yeah. So going back to that, so I'm just looking for one that looks good aesthetically. You like similar to you looked at looks rare, right? You compared your options. I want to kind of give this may be some alpha for people out there. People maybe don't really know this. They don't use it as much. How much have you used gem.xyz?
Yeah, I've used it plenty of times. Yeah, do sweeps.
So, well, not even just
they
sweeps.
Also have the built-in rarity.
Just and not even just sweeping, but just buying outright. So, this is their marketplace. It's basically a marketplace now, right? And it has listings from every marketplace loaded in here. So, you can see here, like this first one is on OpenSea. This next one. This one's on a different marketplace, so it has these different listings preloaded into this marketplace. So instead of having to compare 2, 3, 4 websites, you can just go to gem.xyz, look at the collection, and it's going to show all these listings from different marketplaces. So I'm going to look at Gem to try to find one. That way I can compare all the marketplaces. And again, I'm just looking for a complete viber, right? I'm looking for aesthetics, and I'm looking for traits that maybe aren't on the floor as commonly. And I'm not a big fan of these post-it note faces. So I'm going to try to avoid that because I feel like it kind of, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of it. So I'm going to try to avoid those. I'm going to try to avoid the cigarette smoking ones. I'm also going to try to avoid maybe this beard. I see this pretty common on the doodle floors as well, like this kind of like this beard look, and I'm going to try to avoid that.
Fresh Drops has the market aggregator as well, so it's pulling in from all the marketplaces.
Okay. Yeah, Fresh Drops has it.
If you don't have Fresh Drops, Gem is like an amazing alternative.
Yeah, and this one's free for anyone using, so it's that's the advantage to it. All right, so if I'm just looking purely for around the floor, so within like floor to plus or minus, like plus maybe like an ETH or more. I'm not seeing like too many that stick out as of like complete super clean ones. The only one that I saw was earlier up, and so based off all of that, I'm probably gonna be a buyer at this one right here. So that's Doodle 3970. It looks like it's on OpenSea, so I can just go to OpenSea and see it right here. I mean, this one, it's got like people like hats, it's got like that happy face, it's got good colors. This is probably one, if I was looking for just a floor doodle, it doesn't have the note, it doesn't have the post note, it doesn't have, the cigarette. It's one that I think people could probably relate to and just be like, hey, that's a good looking doodle. It's happy, it's out there, it looks good. So if I was buying just a pure floor one, this would be my purchase.
Yeah, it looks like a sicko doodle.
looks like a sicko doodle. Chili does have a good point. Be mindful of purchases off of OpenSea, basically, because if you buy one, if it looks like a good deal on Looks Rare, you buy it, and you look on OpenSea, and it ends up being flagged, and it's like a stolen asset, and that would decrease its value. So I guess if you find one on Looks Rare or anywhere else, just look it up on OpenSea real quick before you send it, just to make sure it's not like a flagged or stolen asset. Just because that would affect its value later on, unless you're looking for a forever doodle or a forever PFP or a forever of a project, and then honestly, if it's flagged on OpenSea, it doesn't really matter to you. Right? If you can if you don't see like any issue with that, which I honestly don't, because it's it's blockchain, it's Web3, it's you're accountable for your own actions, and if you just want a forever one and it's flagged and you have no issue with it, then hey, it's a good deal for one that you like a lot. Then send it. But yeah, this is the one I would go with. But yeah, that's our floor find segment, and in the future We'll swap and do different projects and do different price points as well.
Yeah, or and take like collection suggestions from the chat as well. Like maybe they're
Yeah.
trying to get into a collection and they don't know which one to buy, and then we'll just counter snipe them, and then sell it back to them at a premium.
Yeah, that's. I mean, we're supposed to say that off the line, not right now.
Ah,
Now they know. We're found out. Using our followers as exit liquidity again. Cool. All right. Well, Jeremy, I know you usually have quite a bit of these. What are some final thoughts, comments before we sign off for the day? You got anything today?
Yeah, I mean, man, I do own. I don't even have it pulled up, but I do own like some of the Murray items. But if you look at, I just wanted to tell y'all again to remind you guys to look at the white paper that they released today, because if you look at some of the market from this morning, Murray owns 3 of the top collections in terms of the volume. So Murray, House Phases, House Pets, those are all the guys in there right now. If you're looking at getting into it, I would just suggest that you do your education and research, because there is like some quirks to it. You have Murray, which is kind of like the Azuki looking avatars, but also you have the House Phases, which is their pretty much original collection here at 1.17, and then there's different tiers of these. So always look at the filters and realize that there's not just this one item. There's different tiers to this. There's levels to this. But yeah, that's Murray. That's pretty hot right now today. So actually, I don't suggest buying at the moment, because I'll just sit back and kind of see what the market does. Maybe some people realize that it's pumped and they want to sell. It creates a lot of sell pressure, because you got to think of people like waking up during the day, international market and stuff like that. So just sit back, let it see what it does, and then kind of gauge your interest level and then your entry point. The other thing is that Scab Shop drops in 2 days and 21 hours. So almost 3 days. Scab Shop is pretty much going to be like a curated tattoo art and culture type of drops. So this again acts as kind of like your minting pass. It's not something that you burn, but if you own this, you kind of get some extra benefits and features of their platform that they're going to be releasing. So that's Scab Shop for any of those people who are into tattoos, tattoo art, and tattoo culture. Reminder that the Series 2 V-Friends, the snapshot happens on April 5th at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's for the holders of the book games. So then you're going to be put into a raffle to see if you make the friends list or not, which are the people who are going to be able to access the pre-sale mint, essentially, the friends mint. Another thing is that Ryan Carson, co-founder, or not even co-founder, CEO actually, of the Proof Collective, he's actually starting his own side project. It's not even a side project, it's like more of like an NFT fund. So if you're into that, if you're into DAOs and NFT investment groups, that's coming out in May. It's going to be 1.21 gigawatts. This will be the website link, except it's not up yet. It's 1.21gigawatts.fund. You can read more about that on the Monty report in his interview. And then the other thing that we saw mint out the other day, and that we brought up on stream multiple times, was the pre-mint collector pass. So if you got a pre-mint collector pass for 0.25, right now you're up like, I don't know, 50%. I'm waiting to get more of these. I kind of want one of these on every wallet that I interact with. Essentially, at any wallet that I mint with, I kind of want one for each, so that way I don't have to like pass it back and forth between what I'm eligible for, what I'm not eligible for, and like, oh, that one has Roboto's eligible for it, so I need to transfer it to the wallet that has a Roboto in it. So instead of doing that, I'd rather just go ahead and buy another pass to be in all those wallets. I haven't bought an additional one at the moment. I probably should have when they were down like at 0.3, but I didn't, and I think they're still relatively hype, so I'm just kind of waiting. But I do plan to do that. I'm just suggesting, or just letting you know my thoughts in case you guys are in the same predicament. And then just the Pharaoh paint drop. Remember, that closes in about 2 hours and 10 minutes. So if you don't have that and you want to be a part of it, do that. And if you want them to not merge, remember to purchase them in separate wallets so that way you don't get stuck with just one NFT.
Yeah. Well, I'm watching this one because we're seeing some movement already. I'm down to 41. we made it to the top 50 shakeup, so I'll be watching this one closely for sure.
Hell yeah.
All right. I don't have anything else. We went a little bit longer than usual today, but it's Monday. We had a lot of stuff going on. It's been a long weekend. It's been a lot of green across the board, which is good. We'll be back here Wednesday at the same time. Friday will look a little bit different, but I'll get with Jeremy. We'll kind of send out some information about that. But yeah, with that being said, we will see everybody here back again, same time on Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, until then, be your own alpha.
Yo, let's go. Appreciate everybody showing up today. Appreciate all the resubs and the new subs and the gifted. Everything, you guys went crazy. So much love for that. And hopefully we have some things popping off for you guys here pretty soon. So peace out. Have a great week.
See ya.
Bye.